Welcome to another Tuesday training. We do this every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. or 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we go into ways to help you with the different parts of our business model, as well as overall personal and professional growth. Last week, we did not have a meeting. We were out of town, so there's nothing to review from last week. We'll go right into today's training, which hopefully you get some value out of because it's very, very important that you stay trendy. And what that means is you're using trends and current events to create conversations, clients, and growth. Remember, if people are already thinking about something, if they're already talking about something, it's a lot easier to get their interest when you get in front of them talking about that particular topic, whatever that may be, whatever's in the news, whatever it's important to them. So how to turn what people are already thinking about into opportunities for you and your business, your income, your revenue, your business growth, your equity, everything you're trying to accomplish. It starts with what we always preach, which is you've got to know how to open, continue, and direct conversation. So this is going to help you guys today stop creating in a vacuum. And what that means is a lot of things that are put out there, a lot of the communication, whether that's verbal communication, written communication, posting communication, whatever it is, it creates a vacuum because people really aren't even interested in talking about something other than what they're interested in talking about. So what we mean is, and this is really, really, really important, people wake up every day already thinking about this stuff. What are they thinking about? Well, they're thinking about inflation. They're thinking about housing, debt, taxes, retirement, jobs, business uncertainty, family concerns, politics, AI, interest rates. So it's not our job to go out there and manufacture the interest in these topics. It's already there. Now, one person is not thinking about all of this. That's why it's extremely important to develop personas and then go out. What is your persona concerned about with right now? You don't need to create interest. And when you understand that, it's extremely advantageous because you can go out there and you can just use what's already creating interest and kind of get on the coattail, piggyback off of it, whatever you want to call it. That interest already exists. Your job is to connect the existing attention to productive conversations, open, continue, and direct communication. Opening is a lot easier when you use this type of a framework. So the core principle here is always, getting the attention and turning that into a conversation because those two things allow us to do everything from the back end of the equation, which is the diagnosis. Once you understand their situation, needs, and goals, you can step in with a solution, the right solution that solves their problem, not just a solution that you're interested in presenting, but a solution that's actually tailor fitted around the problem that you've understood from what everything else that you've done. And that creates the ability to create the relationship, whether it's a client or partner relationship, it creates clients, partners, and growth. So our job on the front end is to get the attention and then turn that attention into conversation. It's a lot easier to get the attention and get noticed and stand out in a noisy world if you get into the framework what we're talking about today, which is just using trending topics and newsworthy subjects to open conversation and get that attention. Once the attention is got, then you can just turn that into a conversation. You start with the dialogue, you build the connection and trust. You turn the attention into relationships. You turn the relationships into growth. So everything we do on the client and partner side is all, done by equations and systems and frameworks that once you understand and implement in a meaningful way, it becomes very easy because you're just sorting people out like we talked about before. So why does this matter? Because if you go out there and just talk about just like insurance topics, financial topics without using trends, then people really aren't interested. If you go out and what's trending in social media, a lot of times it's whatever the news topics of the last day, today, the last week, the last month. It's always up to date current events. So that's why trends matter. What do the trends actually do for you? Well, it's going to do a whole lot. It creates relevance. You connect with what people already care about. If they want to discuss this, if they're researching, if they're reading about it, that creates relevance for what you're talking about. It also lowers the resistance. It makes it easier for people to listen and engage because they're already interested in that topic. And what does that do? It allows you to increase engagement. If you look on social media, and I'm not talking about arguing about politics, I'm just talking about if you look at some of the most trending things that get the most engagement, it's always, basically a lot of times, the up-to-date newsworthy topic. So you're grabbing the attention, you're encouraging interaction instantly, and then you're using all this to start conversations naturally. Use real-world topics to open doors effortlessly. You don't feel like you're forcing your way through the door. It's already open, and you're inviting people to walk through there, and people are openly doing what you're asking them to do. And then you can position as an informed agent. And that's extremely important because it reduces a lot of the noise that associates with the industry. Because if you do the same thing everybody else does, you have to compete. Competing in a very large industry is tough. You build trust by being a go-to source for what matters. So what do trends really do? They turn attention into opportunity. I hope you guys are understanding how this can assist you in going out there and being seen and being heard, and then converting that into engagement, quality conversations, and then back end results. So the formula right here is a current event, what's happening right now that people are already paying attention to. Interpretation, you take on what it means and why it matters. And like I said, we're not arguing out about politics. We're not arguing about this side or that side. You want to put yourself, in a position where you are interpreting and then delivering what matters. And then a question, a thoughtful question that sparks curiosity and invites input. Not anything that's going to get people raging mad. It's a thoughtful question that sparks the curiosity and invites input. And then that changes into a conversation. You can take it from a post onto DMs, onto telephone calls, onto online meetings. You engage, listen, and build the connection that's going to move from wherever it started to another place where you can individualize the communication, the content, the education, the information, and then the end result. So let's give you an example. Headline, mortgage rates are moving up again, which they definitely are, right? So the question is, what impact do you think this has on homeowners? So you're inviting people to do what? Give their opinion. What do people love to do? Give their opinion. So look at this in terms of the flow. The goal here is to start a real conversation, build that rapport and trust, and then create the opportunities and solutions from actually developing a real, authentic conversation. Once again, turning what's trending into meaningful conversations. The categories of topics to monitor, and this is easier than ever, guys. If you just go to AI and ask, type in today's date is such and such, make sure it knows what the date is, and then ask it, what are the topics to monitor? What are the most trending conversations and topics across the internet or on an individual platform? And it'll break them down for you. But this is really what you're looking for. You're looking for opportunities, and these are economic trends. So that's one of the things to follow up on. Understand the economy, not from an economist standpoint, but just spot the opportunities in terms of interest rates, inflation, housing, employment, debt, consumer confidence. This creates client and partner opportunities. Client opportunities to discuss cash flow, mortgage protection, debt acceleration, retirement, all the things that we do in our business model that you can use these trending topics to create engagement, create conversation, and create opportunities within the business model. And then partner opportunities are all about helping people understand how to add more income to their existing business, how to create lead generation. We talk about whether it's agents, whether it's people involved in the mortgage industry or the real estate agents. We talk about the personas, what their problems are, and how to preemptively overcome that in other training. That's not the point of today's training. The point is to help you guys understand how to use these topics to turn them into opportunities for lead generation. Your edge here is when you understand trends, you can create solutions that change lives and grow your business based on what's happening today, not what was happening 10, 15, 20 years ago. Know what's happening, start conversations, and create opportunities. Start the conversation by asking for people's opinion. Don't just state your opinion. Start arguing with people. Ask for other people's meaningful opinion. So the next topic is geopolitical trends. This is always going to be depending on where we are in different types of cycles and, what's happening in the world. There's either, a lot going on in the world, sometimes not as much. Right now, there's a lot going on. So you have topics that are going to be coming up this year in elections, global tensions. There's trade things going on right now, market reactions. There's always something happening. Sometimes there's more than at other times, but there's always something happening that you can pick out and create a conversation angle. And this is easy, guys. Crazy how events halfway across the world affect our wallets. What happens over there impacts us over here. Your wallet, your mortgage, your future. You think people want to talk about this stuff? You bet. Go online and find out what people are talking about, do the research, and then stay informed, start the conversation, and use those conversations, like I said, for lead generation and to actually start conversations. Financial industry trends. This is great for recruiting, guys. Stay informed, stay relevant, create opportunities. Why? Because there's always insurance changes going on. There's tax discussions, tax changes happening, retirement concerns, lending environments change. So when you understand the changes, your conversation really is, are people really prepared if the rules change? Remember, there's been a lot of rule changes inside our industry in terms of compliance over the last 24 months. Are people up to date on those changes? If they're not, then they could pay a heavy fee, a heavy fine for not understanding. So why does this all matter? Because as rules change, people feel the impact. Your guidance creates confidence. If you can be somebody in the industry that's looked at as an advisor, an educator, somebody who actually knows what's going on, your guidance creates that confidence, and then your prepared clients become loyal clients. They create user-generated content, referrals, reviews, everything that you're looking for. If you do the right thing for your partners, you do the right thing for your clients, your business will build in a meaningful way that you don't ever got to worry about anything because you've done it correctly. Understand the trends, start the conversation, and then create real impact. Technology trends, guys. Digital disruption, I've been studying for a number of years. You can't stop it. It affects different industries in different ways, but there are always two sides. There are winners and there are losers. AI, digital disruption will be the same. So, we use AI to build smarter systems, better insights, faster decisions. We're on the cusp of using AI for our business. Most agents out there are still operating in a early 2000s, late 90s kind of model. That will die. So if they're not prepared for all of this automation, streamlining, reducing the time, if I can get more out of my business and investing less time with automation, am I going to beat the agent who's out there just working as hard as they can around the clock? Most definitely. And then also think about AI, not just for disrupting our industry, but disrupting other industries. So as roles are evolving, new skills win. A lot of people that will look at AI and then look at their job, maybe they're looking for the bridge. Hey, in case something happens to my job, what would happen to myself and my income? They're looking for part-time availability, part-time ability to go out there and create not only some side income, but the ability to move into something if something happens to their main income. How are people using technology to build faster, where they're working faster, scaling smarter, serving better, creating better value, and building your edge? You have to embrace technology, adopt early and adapt early, build faster and grow stronger. So if they're out there, whether they're in our industry and they're not adapting and adopting all of these things, they're going to get left behind. And you can position yourself as someone who actually knows how to help them implement this with all the people we have in our business and all the technology that we have in our business. So once again, go out there and be somebody who's looked at as someone who actually knows what they're talking about. And a lot of times, if you're just viewed as that person who general agents and other people from whether it's a client prospect, potential partner prospect, they feel comfortable asking you questions because they're confident in your ability to answer those questions correctly. That builds an enormous amount of trust, rapport, and credibility, and that will have a meaningful, positive ripple effect for your business. And then business trends. How do we use business trends? Well, what are business owners concerned about? Same thing other people concerned about: taxes, debt, interest, but they've got other things to worry about. They've got hiring, they've got retention issues, they've got payroll pressure. All of these things, when you know what to say, how to say it, how to position yourself in front of these people with newsworthy, trending topics, but also the ability to take that, create engagement, and create conversations. What can this lead to? Keep more of what you earn, reinvest, grow, and build your wealth. How do we do that? Well, a number of different ways. We can lower your tax liability, improve your cash flow. We can protect your business, help you build more wealth, whether it's the business owner tax savings program, key man policies, whatever it might be. Business owners, most of the time in small and medium-sized businesses, are wearing a lot of hats. If you can come in there and be that person, not just a salesperson, but somebody that can help them in different parts of their business, maybe remove some of those hats and take on some of the responsibility to help them grow their business so they can concentrate on the business. You can concentrate on other parts, helping them, whether, like I said, lowering tax liability, improving cash flow, protecting the business, or building more wealth. Smart owners keep more. And that is a fact, guys. So let's find your advantage when you go out there and you get in front of business owners, know how to talk to them about what's important to them. That's what they care about. Offer a solution and action step that continues and directs the conversation. So where do we find these trends? Because that's extremely important too. And like I was telling you guys earlier, the AI component of this will help you, but this is all you're doing. I mean, go on and just check your Facebook feed, Instagram, explore around, LinkedIn feed, YouTube trending. All of this stuff is going to give you, when you open these feeds and these platforms, a lot of this stuff that you'll see is trending stuff, whether it's, markets, geopolitical, interest rates, whatever it might be, it's out there. You just find what's trending, find what already people are thinking, talking about, and worrying about, and then come in, stay relevant, start opening those conversations from, like I said, not having to manufacture the interest in something, but just going out there and just piggybacking or coattailing off what's already out there and relevant. Local news, financial news, industry publications. I mean, think about it. If you're responsible for getting viewership for news, whether that's, online, on TV, on the radio, on industry publications, that's what's trending, that's what's newsworthy, that's what they think people are talking about and are talking about. So understand what's happening in your community, take it local, or you can take it on a national level, track markets, economy, financial changes. Stay ahead of your industry with expert insights. Position yourself as someone who actually knows what they're talking about. That builds trust, rapport, and credibility. Information today, opportunities tomorrow, impact every day. And then you can search. And like I said, you don't have to know really how to get on and search. Just go to your AI. Hey, AI, what's trending on Google today? Explore what people are searching for and how interest is changing over time. Some things spike and then they'll drop off, and then other things will become, relevant in the search. So understand what people are searching for. It's one of the easiest things. And then trending search topics. Discover what's trending right now in search, and then discussion communities. See what real people are asking, sharing, and discussing. If you can get on some of these discussion threads and just be that person who actually provides value, answers questions, that provides a lot of value for you in terms of the ability to take that and create leads from it. Search smarter, find the trends, join those conversations, and then make an impact. And an impact doesn't mean you're pitching or arguing with people. You're providing insight. And then if it's your own content that you're developing based on this, you're asking for engagement, asking for opinions, asking for feedback based on what you're posting. Guys, this is one of your greatest discoveries that you'll make, is these communities, because people are in there asking specific questions, talking about specific things. And like I said, if you don't go in there with a sales mind, a pitch mind, a recruiting mind, just an information and education mind, these things work out really well. Whether it's the Facebook groups, Reddit, Alignable, networking groups, you just have to be present, add a little value, build the relationships, and then grow together. You eventually, after you've done the right things, can take these things off into the DMs, the direct messages, and create those individualized communication and conversations. Your next opportunity could come just from simply just opening a conversation. So what do you want to do? You want to take some action today and just build these habits to create the opportunities. Because why? If you learn and implement and continue to have 1-2 combination punch, you're going to be hard to beat. If you're just attending or watching stuff to learn, but you're not implementing it, it's going to be very, very easy to beat. So 3 topics. Find 3 relevant topics people are talking about right now. 3 questions. Find 3 questions people are asking about in your market, and then create some posts. 3 questions or 3 posts to start meaningful conversations. Now, if you post something that doesn't get a lot of engagement, just understand you're not going to go to 100 engagements overnight. You got to go through 0, 1, 2, and 3. It's not going to be something that happens immediately. There's going to be a build-up time, and if you're not willing to go through that build-up time to create the engagement, then unfortunately, you'll never get the value and extract the value out of this. So show up, start conversations, create the connections, and then grow your business. The commitment, guys, will get it started for you. It'll get you started on something, but consistency will get you to the end and help you finish things. So commit to get started, and then bring the consistency every single day to this. And then you can turn these turning the trends into conversations. What does this really mean? Well, it's got a framework, and everything that we do has a framework. And all you have to do is follow the framework, teach other people, and that helps create independence so they're not all counting on you all the time. And it also helps you create distribution. Turn what you see into conversations that create opportunities. See it, understand it, ask about it, start a conversation, observe, provide insight, ask a question, get it to the DM. So, when you're observing, just notice what's happening. It's not hard. Just be an observant person. What does that mean? Just stay curious, pay attention to what's happening on a daily basis, provide insight, identify what it can mean for people in the markets, just connect the dots, but not in an industry jargon way. Connect the dots on a general Main Street kind of way, and then craft a thoughtful question that sparks a conversation, make it relevant, make it so that most people will understand and most people will be able to answer one way or the other. And then DM, as those people are starting to engage with you, reach out and start the conversation from the post to the DM. Hey, thanks for your engagement on my post. And then whatever it is that you want to take it in, whatever direction that you want to take it in based on the post, based on the engagement. That's the framework. Follow it over and over and over again. And there's some rules here. You want to observe, insight, and question. So seeing more discussion about debt lately. Interesting, because income seems up, but pressure seems really high. Are you seeing that too? Keep it basic. Remember, not everybody knows what you know in the insurance industry or financial planning industry. So you don't want to bring all that industry jargon to a general post because people aren't going to understand. They're going to shut down and paralyze and not engage with you. Don't become a news reporter. Just reporting facts or trends creates information, not connection. Remember, facts tell, stories sell. You want to become an interpreter. Translate what's happening into a meaningful, relevant, and real conversation. And then think of it like a little bit of a race. All you're doing is taking the trend, attaching it to a certain persona, and creating the opportunity. What that really means is when you look through here, what about the family-focused homeowner? Well, they're interested and they're concerned about housing, interest rates, higher cost and rate changes are impacting family budgets. The question is, how are families adapting? Families are reevaluating how to protect their homes and their future. The opportunity here can be a lot of different directions, but it can be mortgage protection. Help families protect their home, income, and loved ones. If they're worried about something right now, then they need to hedge consequences of risk. That's one way that you can start the conversation and spur that into a mortgage protection kind of conversation and create outcomes from that. Understand their world, ask the right questions, offer real protection. What about other types of people? Well, you have a lot of people right now that are debt stressed professionals. They might make enough money, but they got a lot of debt. From whatever reasons, we're using student loans as a trending subject here. Student loan debt remains high and impacts major life decisions. Question, would loan forgiveness solve this? You want to get people talking, right? You want to identify people that you can help, and the opportunity is debt to wealth. Hey, somebody's already paying their student loans and I can get those down to zero and ultimately forgiven. Are you willing to take some of that freed up cash flow and invest it into something like a tax-free retirement, converting that debt to wealth? These are how you start conversations that lead from these posts and the engagements into the DM. Somebody's got student loans, great. You can talk to them right there in the DM based on their engagement, based on their answer, understand their pressure, ask the right questions, offer a path forward. You can be the guide from stress to stability and beyond. And if you can master that, understand your place, and get people into understanding this is what I do for people just like you, it's a lot easier to go out there and just sort people out. What do I mean sorting? Because you're no longer thinking about sales. Hey, this person has a problem. They want to be helped. They have the resources to be helped. Let's move them down the line. This person has a problem, but they don't want the solution. They just want to dwell on the problem. I'm going to discontinue or disqualify them. Same thing. If they have the problem, they're interested in the solution, but they don't have the resources for it. Same thing. Qualify, disqualify based on a number of things. Save yourself time. Save the other people time. If you can't help them, move on. Spend the extra time with the people that you can help. And this is a completely different type of person. This is a pre-retiree. They got different things on their mind. They worked hard for what they have. Now it's about protecting and making it last. Remember, the accumulation of retirement accounts is really only half the battle. The big half and the second half of the battle is how long is that going to last, how much income is going to produce, and how long will that income go on for. So what you want to do is the trend might be taxes and volatility, market swings, tax uncertainty. That's at the top of the mind. So what do they want to talk about? Exactly what's on the top of their mind. The question is, what worries people more right now? Is it taxes or is it volatility in the marketplace? Understanding their biggest concerns opens the door to meaningful conversations. And the opportunity right there is retirement planning. Help them create a plan that protects their income, lifestyle, and legacy. We have a guide that we give away. We have, education, we have discovery calls. All of these things can help you, but you can't get those things booked without getting into the right persona with the right type of message. So this is some of the easiest framework and systems to follow to understand how to find these people online, how to create engagement, how to move that engagement into meaningful conversations and outcomes. And then the partner prospect. There's a lot of people, especially in our industry, that they're constantly going over and turning over into new opportunities. Why is that? Because they really haven't found a home. That may be from lack of training, support, leadership, mentoring, products, carriers, whatever it might be. Maybe it's income pressure. That's a lot of times in our industry, rising costs, economic uncertainties, driving professionals to seek additional income or additional opportunities based on what's happening. How are professionals creating more income? We have a business model that allows professionals, whether they're licensed or non-licensed, to have a chain of events that creates the ability to make money on the revenue non-licensed and the revenue licensed side, to use those independently or join those together. So you're looking for the right people with the real solutions and the greater impact. So what you're doing is just identifying personas, creating posts based on newsworthy, trending topics, creating the engagement, having that engagement move to direct messages into other forms, education, meetings, discovery calls. Your content engine, what are we really doing here? You want to daily find what's trending, post about it, get a few comments going, get a few DMs going, create some appointments out of that. If you do that every single day and you can teach other people how to do that, what are you doing? You're creating organic lead generation. You create organic lead generation, make some money from that, take your revenue and income that you made, pay yourself the time, energy, resources invested to create that money, and then start creating a marketing budget so it's not having to do everything on your shoulders organically. You can bring some fuel to the fire, velocity to the build out. You want to consume less and create more. So it's not just about the consumption of information online. It's about just consuming the information necessary to create more out of it. Be consistent. That is the main point of this. Provide value, start the conversations, and create those opportunities. Small, incremental daily actions, getting better every day, has a big long-term impact to your business. So compliance and guardrails. This is something you guys need to understand for yourself and your agents as they come in. You do not want to shoot yourself in the foot and cause issues in our business, our platform, or having the industry come down on you. So avoid things like predictions, fear marketing, politics, financial guarantees. I know this is pretty straightforward in general, and everybody really understands that, but when you're building an agency, you don't want one person having everything collapse on top of it because they're going out there and doing exactly what they shouldn't be doing. So what are we not doing? We're not predicting. We're not creating fear marketing. We're not talking and arguing about politics. And we're not making ever any financial guarantees. What we are doing is providing free education, answering questions, creating curiosity, and developing discussions. If you just do the right side of this, then you'll have your business built in the right way, and you will never, ever, ever have to worry about any compliance issues, whether it's on yourself or any of your agents. So today's plan, what are we really going to do coming off the back of this, either live or recorded when you're watching it? You got to create a daily execution plan. So that really means, at a minimum, read 10 minutes, save 3 stories, create 1 post, start 5 conversations, and book an appointment. Now, maybe all of this doesn't happen with your first few posts. Maybe you don't get a booked appointment out of it. Maybe you get little to no engagement. Maybe that turns into little to no conversations. Understand that by doing it, getting better at it, understanding, hey, this particular post had no engagement at all. This particular post had a lot of engagement. Why is that? And if you're unsure, push them through AI and it will tell you exactly. Go with what's working, understand what gets the most engagement, go to that side, and also understand from what's not working, move away from that. Topics used, engagement, conversation, appointments is all things you should track. Why? Because if you track it, you understand you can measure it, you can improve it, and you can grow it. What gets measured gets mastered. Accountability is not something that's a punishment, guys. It's just understanding what's happening or not happening and being able to reflect on that and make adjustments. So, our 7-day challenge here, what do we want to do? We want to step up to the starting line and actually start this race. Create a trend. Choose one trend that matters to your audience. Go through and do the reading. That doesn't mean you should be stuck online all day trying to find a trending subject. You can do the research, like we told you earlier in this training, on what is trending, find it out, go out and identify it, and then focus on one persona that you want to serve, and then create a post that starts meaningful dialogue. May not happen in the beginning. The consistency of doing it over and over and over again and learning from that will create the engagement, will create the meaningful dialogue. And then you just start 5 real conversations with the right people. Who are the right people? People that engage with their post. Move it from the engagement on the post to the DM. Will all those DMs equal outside conversations, discovery calls, online meetings, and potential outcomes? No, but some will. You'll get better and better and better at what you do. Remember, the consistency creates the momentum. Conversations create the opportunity. Focus on that for 7 days. Just get better at what you're doing. And this is really what I want you guys to take away from this. Attention is already happening every single day. Your income is determined by how well you turn attention into conversations. The informed agent wins. Obviously, the most active agent, contacts equal contract, so to speak, but you can make things easier for yourself by being the informed agent and taking what's already trending, what people are already thinking about, talking about, and engaging with, and just using that. Marketing equal conversations, conversations equal clients, or recruiting for partners, and that's going to lead to growth. If you focus on this, create a systematic framework, teach yourself and teach others, this is how you turn attention into impact.